Alright, so we are now ready. I'm going to give the model one more uh, look to see if there's any more symmetrical detail that I would like to add um, before we move on to doing the asymmetrical detail. Namely, detail that's not going to be the same as we see right now. Everything is split right down the middle, so whatever we have on one side is exactly the same as on the other side. And if we are ready, there's nothing else that we want to add. Like if we wanted to add an armband or something around his bicep, now would be the time if we wanted to have that armband on both arms. But I don't think there's anything else that I would really want to do to him that is symmetrical at this time. I think I'm ready to move on to the asymmetrical stuff. So when we are ready to do that, the first thing that you want to do is save your file, and I'll save an increment of it just to be sure that we still are maintaining our initial layout. And now we can collapse this guy down, collapse the symmetry into the editable poly by selecting on the symmetry and then right clicking and go collapse to and just hit yes. And as you see, it preserves the TurboSmooth for us, but now the symmetry's gone and we now have both sides of the character that are actually there, that we can now start doing things different to one side or the other. And the first thing we're going to do is add this little tie for his bandana. So we'll go into editable poly, attach, and we'll attach that straight out. And I'll go into element, and as we see, we're selected on that one, hold control and select both of them. And now we want to put these on the same material ID channel as his headband. So I will scroll down to this one. I'm going to hit F2 so that we're not looking at it solid in red. And it's telling me here in the material IDs that it is set on channel 2. We don't know right now which color is this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our material editor, and I'm going to just go to utilities, reset material editor slots. So now we have a brand new set of empty slots. I'm going to just pick the first one, and we're going to use the eyedropper, and I'm just going to select right on the character, and we see by doing that we have all the different materials that we have assigned. There they are in the multi-sub object material. So for example, the great thing about this is if we want to change the color of his boots, I can just come here and now his boots are different, and I actually like the way that looks. So I can see that green is the bandana, and that's on material ID 7. So if I go back down to editable poly to element, okay, so we're now selected on it, and we want to assign this to 7. So I'm just going to pull this over so we can see a little easier what's going on. Okay, so we need to set this to 7. So I'm going to go to set ID, type in 7 and hit enter, and we see it now is green. And if we wanted to, we can make some more changes since that we now see it with the TurboSmooth on. So maybe I'll move that over. Maybe I'll select on this one. We see I'm just on that one, but I want to see it with the TurboSmooth. Let's pull that up here like that. And then if I really wanted to, we could then come in and really start getting particular about the way it looks. Okay, so that's the great thing about, why we were doing this the whole time. Now the other thing that I'm going to do with our material subobject here is where it says name, I'm going to go ahead and type in what they are. So boots and pants, and just go right down. Soles, arm wrap, gloves. Okay, now that we have them named, we can select on our character, go into, let's say, polygon mode. Okay, and while we're in here, if we go to our material IDs, we can open up this list, and as we see here, we can just quickly jump to selecting on anything we want to. So let's say I wanted to quickly select on the gloves. Bam, done. Now I can do whatever I want to with those selections. Want to quickly pick on his toes? Well, there you go. Boots. So it's a so we see that those are his pants, but we also have this one selected as well, because that was we assigned that color the same that was the pants. But anyway, so hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you can see some of the use that we have for that, why it would be useful. But the other thing, like we've already kind of seen, the great thing about this is not only being able to quickly select certain selections on the character, but for just a color scheme layout, all we got to do is change these swatches here, and we can completely change the look of the character. So let's say I don't like the gloves being that color. I don't have to go into the gloves material and change the color here. I can stay up at this level and just change the swatch. And I can quickly play around with color schemes very easily until I see something that I like. And I'm kind of... So, if I wanted to follow the theme of this orange, maybe we could pick orange, or keep something close in the same family of orange, something like that. But it's it's a wonderful thing a wonderful tool to use for character design. And I hope that you see how useful that it is. That's kind of my point. And it's actually not bad. I don't like his skin color like that, though. It actually looks kind of cool. Kind of like that better. So anyway, that's the great thing about it, is we can very easily come in here and get make major color changes very easily. And what was he? He was like a blue, something like that. I'm gonna stick with that. Green for the bandana. I'm kind of not feeling that anymore. So anyways, I guess that you get the point here. And we'll go with that. Alright. So we now have our character. We are happy with the color scheme. So now it's time to do some, as I've said before, some asymmetrical adjustments to our character. And if we take a look, let's close this over. At the concept art, we see we've got like a strap that goes around them, and some kind of like shoulder gear. I did threw this concept art out really quickly. I was more excited and ready to start modeling than anything. The basic point here is that it's got something that he's wearing on him, and we see there's some kind of weapon here. Didn't spend a lot of time on it. Hopefully, if you get into industry, you have people that spend hours of time on their concept art. I just needed something quick. So, point is, he's wearing something, some kind of shoulder gear, and it's got a strap that goes around. Okay. So, the first thing that I'm going to do, let's go into turn off our TurboSmooth. Okay, and knowing that this piece of armor is going to come off of his shoulder, one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and actually select on his shoulder like this. Turn that on for a second so we're sure we don't pick on anything, and I might get that one too. Okay, and I'm now going to go down to our edit geometry. Okay, and I'm going to do a detach, and I'm going to say detach as clone. Okay, and what that means, we see here is the original piece, or the piece that was detached. But as we see, we still have the other one. So I'm going to select on this one, and I'm going to go to Hierarchy, Effect Pivot Only, Center to Object, turn off Effect Pivot Only. Okay, so now I can go in to our colors here, and let's say I just pick a new one, and I'm going to call this shoulder pad, and just assign that color, and let's make it something like that. Okay, so there's his shoulder pad, the start of it, and we see he still has his shoulder still there. And what I'm going to do with this now, I can name it if I want to. It's not going to stay too long, but I can put the push modifier, and we see I can push it out away, and it gets some issues, and those issues I can tell are these right here. So what I'm going to do, we go to our push, I'm going to go down into our vertice, and I'm going to actually get rid of these guys right here, because I can see they're causing the problems with the push. Okay, so I'm just going to look to see. Alright, so like this one right here. Okay, that one's kind of going all crazy. Don't necessarily want to delete it, but maybe I could make an adjustment to it. Okay, now the other thing that I'm going to do, since I've pushed it away, all that push does is it extrudes or pushes the faces away based on the normal direction. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to collapse it down, collapse all. Okay, and now I can actually sculpt this a little more certainly to what I would actually like to see. So we're not worrying about fighting against a modifier or anything like that. Okay, so just gonna make some adjustments here. Okay. Pull that out. Alright, now I'm gonna really kind of take a look at it if I'm looking straight on at the shoulder pad and start to turn it a little bit more into the kind of shape that I envisioned. Okay, and I can see for example that this piece up here, this polygon, is actually superfluous. So I'm just going to get rid of it. Let's pull that over. Let's pull this one out. Okay. And I think I'm over this one. And this one. And this one. So as you can see, now I'm basically trying to work with the idea that we've got these guys here. So I'm going to now just come in here and select on the middle section. And let's extrude this out. That's a bit much, so something like that. So it's really just like a typical little shoulder pad here. Nothing special. I go in, let's do the quick way of doing this. So edge, select ring. So we see it gets all of them, hold control, and go to polygon. Alright, so let's do our extrude again by local normal. Let's pull that down a little bit. Okay. And if we wanted to shrink that down, but I'm not going to do that. Scale it out a little more. So I'm going to throw TurboSmooth on it so we can kind of get an idea of what it's looking like. Okay. And I want to make, so I'm going to select on this one, I want to make this definition along where it actually separates a little bit more dominant. So we're going to take that edge, ring, and we will go to connect, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, so I can see that's made it more pronounced, and if we slide one way or the other, we can see that it's pronouncing more the wrinkle here, or it's going to pronounce more the sharpness of it up here. So what I'm going to do is say 2. Well, undo. I'm going to put it on 2 and then adjust the pinch so we get both effects. We get the increase of the pinch down here and the hardness of the extrusion up here. Okay, let's go in here, let's ring, and let's go to connect on this one. And we can see that it's doing the same kind of thing here. I'm going to reset it just so we can kind of see how it starts. If we slide it more this way, then that crease is more dominant, and if we take it the other way, then the other one. So by putting it on 2 and doing the pinch, we can actually get those creases really nice and strong like that. Okay, next thing is going to be actually coloring this a little bit. So I'll select on those, and I'm going to go control page up all the way down, so we select on this whole piece. Okay, picking a new color, and we'll assign it, and let's call it center pad. Okay, now I'm going to do it again, control page up one time, so we're just on this top piece, and I'll go ahead and call it that, top piece, and assign it, and we'll give it a different color, something easy for now. Okay, like that. So undo, and now with this one selected, I'm going to go in and do an extrude, and let's see what it looks like if we go negative. So we're just going to push it out just a little bit. See what it looks like if we go by polygon, and what it look like if we go by group. The cool thing, if we go by group, I can now scale this down and get another different look. So, but I don't really like the way that's looking, so I'm gonna go back here, and I'm just gonna do a normal extrusion, local. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, and I can tell that there is something more I would like to do to that. And let's see, what can we do? One of the things that I'm seeing is come in here. Actually, I'm just going to take these two and let's chamfer those. And okay, that's not gonna look good. So I'll go back to this one, and I'm going to inset by polygon. Cancel. Oh, I'm selected on too many. Just those. Now inset by group. There we go. Okay. Now what I could do would be to fix the alignment of some of these vertices, so they are a little more centered, like so. Back to polygon, and let's just extrude one more time. Yeah, let's do that. Control page up, and let's put a different color on it. Let's go a little darker, something. Alright, so you see that's kind of one approach to modeling something like that. Okay. Now we need to do the strap that goes around him, and there's a couple of ways we can approach this, and I'm going to show you the way that I like to do it. Alright, so we're going to have a belt that wraps around him. So I'm going to make me a box. Okay. And with this box, as we see, we've got no height segments or anything on there. Okay, so I'm going to go to my front view, and I'm going to move this. Effect pivot, center to object, turn it off. just so I can rotate this a little easier. Alright, so now what I'm doing is I'm going to eyeball and get this to imagine, what size strap should this be if it's going to, be attached here and all these wonderful things. And that looks like about to be a good size to me. So let's take a look. Alright, not that one. Okay. So how thick would we like? Do we imagine that this strap would be? And I'd say something around there is probably about the right size. Alright, so now I'll go ahead and collapse this to an editable poly. And since this is going to be a strap, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these end pieces, and I'm going to get rid of this back piece because it's going to always be facing the character, and it's going to be really close to his body, so it's really not going to be an issue whatsoever. Actually, you know what? Just so we can kind of see, you can kind of see for yourself how this is going to be. I'm not going to delete those end pieces so that we can just extrude. I'm just going to delete this piece. Okay, so we can now come into polygon mode, and I'm going to go ahead and move this, and then let's use the local rotate. Okay, like so. And as you can see, I'm just going to be moving this let's probably say like right there. Alright, and I'm going to leave this one here because we're actually going to do two straps that goes here. So we're going to take this guy, extrude, and let's just follow the surface of our character like this. Okay, semicolon to extrude again. We'll start wrapping this right around him. Remember, you always want to be constantly rotating so that the edges and everything is lining up, going in the right direction. Okay, so we're now coming around the back, so let's rotate like so, semicolon. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Start coming around that way, semicolon. Rotate. I want to start working our way as if we're coming up the back. Semicolon. So each time we do an extrusion, I want to start eyeballing this to head in that direction. So each time we do an extrusion, we make some adjustments. I actually think that that's working out pretty good. Probably do one more. Okay. And let's see. I could scale that down a little bit. And maybe pull that in just like that. Maybe put it right onto the surface. And let's a bit of a rotation. Okay, so something like that. Okay, let's throw TurboSmooth on it. See what it's looking like. All right. So now we need to finish up here. And one of the things that I was having an idea for, I'm going to ring, which we see goes all the way around, and let's connect just once, like so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude one of these pieces out like this, something like that. Let's do the same thing, semicolon, move it into place, scale it down, put the TurboSmooth on so we can kind of see what's going on. Alright, let's take a look. Alright, so you can see it's kind of like a buckle thing going on. Okay, so if that's the case, I'm going to undo. Okay, let's do a torus, and I'm going to put auto grid on, and so this way we can actually create the torus right here. Actually right on the surface. Let's put this on local. Okay, so I can move that like so, and let's line that up. Okay, so let's come back. Let's turn this off for a second, and let's come in here and make some adjustments so I can see what we're going to be doing. Okay, and I'm going to chamfer this one about like that, and now I'm just going to extrude this one, and let's so there we go. Okay, well, I know that there are, so I'm going to make a copy, because I know that we're going to have these two. Like that. Another one here. Okay. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and make a line. And I'm just going to drag like that, okay, with the auto grid still on. So we actually create it right up here on the surface. And if I go into rendering, enable in renderer and viewport, I can see that that line quickly becomes actual mesh that we can see. So I'm just now gonna line that up like that, and now we just got this one. Can line that one up like that. Okay, and the cool thing about using lines or splines for things like this is that we can come here and say make it a rectangle. So now it's actually a strap. How wide do we want it? Give it an angle. It's not actually doing anything. Okay, so just by simply moving the vertice of the spline, we're actually shaping the object. Now we could collapse it to enable poly. I'm going to hold shift and make a copy. Alright, so now I can see just from the way that things are looking, there's a couple of things that I would like to do. The first thing is, with this big one, I'm going to bring the segments down, because remember, we're probably going to be having TurboSmooth on this. Let's bring the sides down, don't need that many, and I'm going to, let's see. So what I'm looking at here is this strap comes into these segments, and this one comes into these segments. That's basically what I'm looking at. So let's bring these down. Obviously they just need one. Probably don't need very many sides, so 5 and 5 looks pretty good to me. Can rotate this like that. This one like that. Okay, and now essentially what I'm going to do, collapse. Okay, let's select all of those. Hold Alt, select off. Hold Control, select on, select Alt, select off. Get off of the ones we don't want. Again, wireframe, just to be sure. And you guessed it, extrude by local normal. Probably something like that. Control page up, and now we want to put the same kind of leather brown that we have here, which we don't have a color on this yet, so let's go ahead and make a new one and call this leather, and it's going to be brown something. Let's see, let's find a nice brown. Just say something like that. Okay, I'm going to apply that color. Applies it on this whole object. Now we need for the metal, so I'm just going to call that metal, and I'm going to Control I to select the inverse, and I'm going to put that metal on the ring. And just for now, so we can see a difference, I'll make that yellow. Okay, so we have our yellow assigned to the metal, and we've got the brown assigned for what would be the leather pieces. So now I'm just going to go in and assign that same leather color to this, and I'm going to assign the same color to these straps. And let's put the metal on these, just like that. Now if we were to take a look and see what this looks like with TurboSmooth, and again with this one, so I'm just going to go into this object, go into editable poly and attach. Match. This time we're attaching two different colors, so we're going to say match material IDs to material. Pick that one, same thing. That one and that one, same thing. So now we can see how they look TurboSmooth, and obviously we've got some adjustments we need to make real quick. Namely, we don't have any segments going on with these guys, so let's go ahead and let's put like 2 there, which we can see is already changed. And we can come in here and actually do the same thing, which we probably should have did beforehand. So let's go into edge. I'm gonna pick that guy, ring, hold control, select that one, hit ring, now hold control, go to polygon. Well, let's try this again. Okay, hold control, go to polygon, and we will do that extrude. And that looks pretty good. Control page up. So now we're on the same for both of them, and we put that leather material on there. And just like that, we now have our cool little strap on our guy. And we could do the same thing back here. Now all we got to do is just copy this piece and now just rotate this into place, and that'd be done. So we'll just move that like so. Maybe we can even hit the mirror with no clone. Okay, so just rotate this. So we're just rotating it right into place. Okay, and I can see that this is not even lined up with the strap. So I'm going to line my ring up with the strap first. Like that. Because now what we might just have to do is come in here, select all those polygons, and rotate them. Whoops. So we selected on something we didn't need to select on. So let's take those. Let's see how we've got. Whoa. Why are you? Oh. Put that on local. There we go. Now I'm just going to make some adjustments like that. Just on those. And same thing on these. Push those right into place. Okay, so let's take these. And let's see what that looks like. Now, all we gotta do is fix the edge right here. Whoa. So I'm going to go edge, select loop, hold control, come down and hit remove. Okay, and now we just do the same thing we did to the other one. I'm going to pull these back. Go on edge, chamfer, polygon, select, extrude. And just pull that one. And if we wanted to, which might as well, go ahead and do this one too. And pull that like that. So there we go. There's what he's looking like. And probably not going to do too much more to his belt strap right there. I'm pretty happy with that. So in the next one we'll just finish up some details on that and maybe give him his weapon, and then we will be done modeling and we can start actually doing the texturing. So see you next time.